Hi.
Happy Birthday Friday!
Happy
and
Birthday Friday.
Happy birthday to AeonPup! Happy birthday! Oh, my.
Sorry. Warning, I'm turning the lights up.
Okay. So happy birthday, AeonPup! And anybody else who was born on April 28th. Today we have a list of various people who also share a birthday with you, as well as many different things that also happen on your birthday. So starting off the list is Jenna Ushkowitz, best known as Tina Cohen Chang on Glee, Millie Von Sunshine on RuPaul's Secret Celebrity Drag Race. She turns 37. Harry Shum Jr., best known as Mike Chang on Glee, and Dr. Benson Kwan on Grey's Anatomy, as well as the teppanyaki chef and Everything Everywhere All at Once. He was the one with the hat with the thing.
Wow, Rakakuni.
Yes. He turns 41. Jessica Marie Alba starred in Dark Angel, Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four movies, and Nancy Callahan in the Sin City movies. She turns 42.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize I am actually older than her. Oh,
Okay.
my goodness.
Drew and Jonathan Scott, better known as the Property Brothers, and their show on HGTV, including Buying and Selling, Brother versus Brother, Forever Homes, and Property Brothers at Home. They turn 45.
Ah, they're older than me.
Okay.
It's just nice to know that some of these beautiful people stay beautiful in their older
Where's
years.
the cursor? Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, I found it. All right. Next is Nate Richard, best known as Harvey Kinkle in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. He turns 45. Michael Joseph Carbonaro, star of another gay movie and creator of the Carbonaro Effect, as well as a cameo in God Bless America. He turns 47. Penelope Cruz Sanchez, actress from Spain and Life of Javier Bardem. She's been in a lot of things I'm sure you've seen, but I really couldn't find anything that stuck out to me as being especially noteworthy, so I apologize to any fans of Penelope Cruz, unless you know of any
Yeah,
offhand.
there was that. Oh, gosh, was it It was like a sequel to the Hitman's Bodyguard's wife? Was she in that one?
Is that her?
It might not be.
Yeah.
I saw that movie a while back.
Yeah, we saw that together. It was like our
Really?
first movie we went to theaters together to see. So yeah, Penelope Cruz, she turns 49. Jorge Garcia, best known as Hugo Hurley Reyes on Lost, and Jerry Ortega on the new Hawaii Five-0. He turns 50, or 5-0. Kim Gordon, the bassist, guitarist, and vocalist of alternative rock band Sonic Youth. She turns 70. Getting up there in years there, huh? I wonder if they still perform. James Douglas Muir Leno, a.k.a. Jay Leno, hosted NBC's The Tonight Show from 1992 until 2009. He turned 73. You have anything to add about Jay Leno?
Keep going.
Okay. Paul Vincent Guilfoyle, known for playing Captain Jim Brass on CSI, as well as being Mickey Cohen in LA Confidential. He turns 74. Sir Terrence David John Pratchett, a.k.a. Terry Pratchett, creator of the Discworld series. Sadly, he's passed away. He was 66 years old when he passed, and he would be 75 if he were alive today.
Wild. You know, some people actually believe that Discworld is real.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gullible enough to believe that, so I don't know if you're joking.
It's unfortunate, but people believe all sorts of ridiculous things that have been proven wrong, and then say, no, there's no proof.
Okay. Next, we have, sadly, another one. In fact, I think the rest of these are people who are no longer with us, but Bruno Kirby, known for roles such as Ed Ferrillo in City Slickers, where he was nominated for Funniest Supporting Actor. Young Peter Clemenza in Godfather Part 2. And Reginald Stout in Stuart Little. He was the little mouse who showed up saying that he was Stuart's real dad. He was 57 when he passed, and if he were alive today, he'd be 77. Harper Lee, author of To Kill a Mockingbird and many other books. She was 89 when she passed, and if she were alive today, she'd be 97. Bruce Kirby, father of Bruno Kirby, known for such roles as Dr. De Benedetto in Throw Mama from the Train, District Attorney Bruce Rogoff in L.A. Law, and Sergeant Kramer in Columbo. He would be 95, and if he were alive today, he'd be 98. So yeah, father and son.
That's crazy.
And the father outlived the son, so that is very. I feel it's fairly rare.
Yeah, it doesn't happen to, and it's also I see you don't have it. He is the great grandfather of the little pink Kirby from Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean,
third cousin of Jack Kirby.
The name was largely the reason why I initially was adding him to the list, but then finding out that both father and son were born on the same day, and the discrepancy in their time of departure was enough to be like, yeah, they're worth mentioning, and I think that's fairly neat, and sad a little too. Yeah. Ferruccio Lamborghini. You may have heard of the last name before. I don't think do I need to say more about who Lamborghini
They made those SUVs in the 70s.
But yeah, he was 76 when he passed, and if he were alive today, he'd be 107. Oskar Schindler saved the lives of 1,200 Jews, and the subject of the novel Schindler's Ark, and the 1993 film adaptation Schindler's List. When he passed, he was 66, and if he were alive today, he'd be 115.
Almost made it.
Lionel Barrymore, born Lionel Herbert Blythe, best known as Mr. Potter in It's a Wonderful Life, and won Best Actor Academy Award for A Free Soul in 1931. I am entirely unfamiliar with that movie, but nonetheless, he won an Academy Award, so that's pretty awesome. So yeah, he played the character Stephen Ash in A Free Soul. So if anyone's ever heard of this ancient movie, or at least it soon will be ancient. I think it has to be 100 years old to be ancient. Is that right? Or am I just thinking of something entirely different? I'm thinking of antique. I'm pretty sure it's antique. Anyway, he was 76 when he passed. And if you're alive today, he'd be 145. And finally, James Monroe, the 5th president of the United States, from March 4th, 1817 to March 4th, 1825. He was 73 when he passed, and if he were alive today, he would be 265.
Should have hung in there, bud. Should have hung in there. Could have met you.
So that does it for the people who were born on this day. There were plenty others, but those were the most noteworthy ones that I could find. So now on to things that happened on this day in history. We have in 1253, Nichiren, a Japanese Buddhist monk, propounds Nam Myoho Renge Kyo for the first time and declares it to be the essence of Buddhism, in effect founding Nichiren Buddhism. Or Nichiren Buddhism. I'm not a practicing Buddhist, so please forgive me if anybody in the audience is. In 1376, English Good Parliament begins meeting in London. Will sit till the 10th of July. Then the longest sitting English Parliament, where they demand supervision of royal spending. I wonder if they still do that. Then in 1521, the Treaty of Worms, Emperor Charles names his brother Ferdinand Archduke of the Netherlands and Austria. Or Netherlands, Austria. In 1611, establishment of the Pontifical and Royal University of Santo Tomas, the Catholic University of the Philippines, the oldest existing university in Asia and the largest Catholic university in the world.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. Never saw it when I was out there.
In 1770, British Captain James Cook aboard the Endeavour lands at Botany Bay in Australia.
Oh, yeah. I actually went to school with someone that shared the same name. And at one point, I think we had to do a book report, and he actually chose a book report by James Cook, and I was like, that's you.
Oh, okay. So that was their actual given name?
Yeah, that was their name. That was their given name.
Do you think they might have been related?
It's hard to say. It seemed to be pretty common.
Okay.
And there was another Cook in our school with last name Cook, and
they weren't related.
They were not related
to each other.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. In 1788, Maryland becomes the 7th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. In 1789, Fletcher Christian leads a mutiny on the HMS Bounty against its captain, William Bligh, in the South Pacific.
Yes, perhaps you've heard of Mutiny on the Bounty.
Yes, as I was just about to mention, Captain Bligh would later be portrayed by Trevor Howard, while mutineer Fletcher Christian would be played by Marlon Brando in the 1962 MGM film Mutiny on the Bounty.
Yeah, and we know, I think we mentioned before that Marlon Brando had particular proclivities, basically pan.
In a time where it was not very well known that people were such things.
Yeah, he's just
were outwardly expressing that they were such. Anyway,
I don't know how much he kept it under wraps, but he didn't really seem to hide much.
Okay.
He's one of those types, just didn't care.
Well, even if he was, I'm sure majority of people weren't.
Yeah.
It was definitely a point where, if you expressed anything of outside of the norm, you'd be ostracized or otherwise, be hated upon. So
Yeah, he had enough power and notoriety.
Yeah, I guess he must have. In 1796, ceasefire of Cherasco between Sardinia and Napoleon Bonaparte. In 1818, U.S. President James Monroe proclaims naval disarmament on the Great Lakes and Lake Champlain.
Oh, yeah, that's where Champ lives. Another one of those cryptids.
Oh!
Yeah, everybody who lives near a body of water has a creature that's basically a knockoff Nessie. So you have Loch Ness, you have Ogopogo, and you have Champlain, and they've all got a creature, and there's plenty more.
Don't we have one too?
I'm sure we do, but I don't know the name.
Bessie.
Oh my gosh, Bessie.
Yeah, Bessie.
I have so little patience with this stuff, especially since, the original Nessie picture was clearly fake, so... Or maybe not fake, but clearly not of what people thought it was. It's just the absurdity.
So next we have in 1847, George B. Vachon becomes the first African-American to enter New York State Bar.
Oh, like to get his drink on.
I'm pretty sure that's he became a lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Probably sue all those people that gave him drinks when he was underage. Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
In 1848, slavery is abolished in French colonies.
Wow. So they got okay, cool. That's cool. That's excellent. It should have happened sooner.
Yeah.
But...
Couldn't or should never have happened at all.
Oh, yeah, I could have been.
Right? That'd be even better, right?
Yeah, that would be better.
In 1855, the first veterinary college in the United States incorporates in Boston.
Oh, you're from that general region.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Good thing for veterinarians, huh?
Yeah.
I used to have to go to a special one for my feathered friends.
Oh.
Because they, I wanted them to have the best care, and the only thing you could get locally are like trims and, basically just trims. So if they needed anything else, like x-rays or whatever, I had to drive quite a bit out of my way.
Oh, wow.
And go to a specialized AAV veterinarian.
Was it as far or further than Anthrocon is?
Oh, it wasn't that far.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't quite that far. Half the distance probably to Anthrocon, so still a bit of a drive for a little
so further than Buffalo or
actually right about
or Erie.
It's right about Buffalo.
Oh,
a little further.
Okay.
Well, that area.
So anyhow, next we have in 1881, Billy the Kid escapes from the Lincoln County Jail in Lincoln, New Mexico.
Neat.
Didn't even know there was a Lincoln, New Mexico. In 1892, the first performance of Antonin Dvorak's Carnival Overture.
How does that go? Hum a few bars for me.
I don't know it.
I'll make it up.
In 1902,
That's actually Entry of the Gladiators.
in 1902, using the ISO 8601 standard year zero definition for the Gregorian calendar. Preceded by the Julian calendar, the 1 billionth minute since the start of January 1st and year zero occurs at 10:40 a.m. on this date.
Oh, neat. Neat.
It's a bit of a mouthful, but yeah, it's fairly interesting. 1910, the first night air flight by Claude Graham White in England. In 1922, the WOI in Ames, Iowa, is county's first licensed educational radio station. In 1925, Netherlands and Great Britain returned to the gold standard.
Ah.
Wonder when we'll return to the gold standard.
That ship has long since sailed and sunk.
In 1928, RCA and GE install 3 test television sets in homes in Schenectady, New York, allowing trials of invention. E.F.W. Alexanderson's first home television receiver, a poor and unsteady 1.5 square inch picture, was received from radio transmitter.
Ah, neat.
So yeah, if you've ever seen any of those super old-timey like scenes of people watching a itty-bitty television screen about as big as a YouTube thumbnail, that was what that was, evidently.
Yeah, they
So 1.5 square inches.
Yeah, we've driven through Schenectady a few times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's yeah.
I just like the sound of that, Schenectady.
I'm pretty sure they pronounce it Schenectady. I think it's like school.
Oh, Schenectady.
So you say school instead of school. Even though it's spelled that way, language is weird.
Yes, it is. It is. It'd be interesting to look into that, the etymology of that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, in 1930, the first night organized baseball game played in Independence, Kansas. Considering the date, I would imagine like lighting was something they were finally able to produce enough of to make playing possible in the dark.
Oh, probably.
In 1931, a program for women's athletes approved for the 1932 Olympics track and field.
Interesting.
In 1934, Tigers' Goose Goslin grounds into 4 straight double plays. I just like that name, Goose Goslin.
Yeah.
And they play for Tigers.
Well, a bird? How absurd.
And
can you imagine a bird playing sports?
Also, U.S. President FDR signs a Homeowners Loan Act.
Ah, this is something you'll still see come up if you're trying to buy property.
Really? Wow. 1937, the first animated cartoon electric sign is displayed in New York City, as well as the first commercial flight across Pacific operated by Pan Am.
Ah.
Then in 1940, Glenn Miller records Pennsylvania 65000.
Yeah, that's the, never mind that hand. It's like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. And I can produce a couple times, it goes, and then they just go,
Pennsylvania 65000.
Da-da-da-da. Honestly, as basic as that song is, I still kind of enjoy it. But it was weird to see it in old movies, and you see all these people all dressed up all fancy, and then the music stops and everybody shouts it, and I'm like, wow, that's weird. It's weird how into it they were.
Indeed. So also on that day, the SS Oberstrumpfbannführer, or Lieutenant Colonel, Rudolf Haas, not Hess, a different guy, becomes commandant of the concentration camp of Auschwitz.
You don't mess with the Haas.
Okay. I mean, that's certainly a dark point in history, but hey, you know, you don't want to forget about these things. They say those who don't learn from history do repeat it. And I know about that firsthand. I've repeated history numerous times. One of the reasons I think I enjoy doing this is because, you know, I want to actually, you know, get some knowledge out there from history that schooling wasn't doing for me. Anyhow, in 1942, World War II, or WWII, is titled so as a result of a Gallup poll.
Ah.
So yeah, I know that the first World War was called the Great War when it first happened, but it wasn't until much later that it was renamed to World War One, and obviously it wouldn't have been World War One until World War Two had happened. So, like, I guess potentially that also is when World War One was named as such. But that's all it says is that WWII is titled that. So,
interesting.
Not sure.
That's also the year my dad was born.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he and I are old.
Also on that date, nightly dim out begins along the U.S. East Coast.
Sounds like a series of rolling brownouts.
Possibly, but I think it was more like the government was like, please conserve power by turning off all lights. You know, making it a mandatory, you know, blackout of people. I don't know that they could yeah, there you go. I don't know that they could actually, like, forcibly turn off everybody's power.
Oh, they can't?
I mean, I guess they could, but I think that they didn't actually do that. They just asked everybody to try to, like, limit their electricity use or something. Again, not entirely sure why. There's probably a really good reason for that. And probably still happens occasionally. Anyhow, 1947, Thor Heyerdahl and the crew of the Kon-Tiki sail from Peru to Polynesia.
Ah, Thor Heimdall. I love that guy.
Heyerdahl. In 1949, former Philippine First Lady Aura Quezon. Did I pronounce that right?
I don't know. I've usually heard it pronounced Quezon.
Quezon, okay. First Lady Aurora Quezon, 61, is assassinated while en route to dedicate a hospital in memory of her late husband, her daughter, and 10 others that were also killed. Normally I wouldn't put that on there, but you know, I know, you know, your family's from the Philippines,
yes,
so
indeed, and that is actually. Oh no, I'm trying to think. I do have that name in my family.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it was a relative.
In 1952, Dwight D. Eisenhower resigns as the Supreme Commander of NATO. As well, St. Louis Browns lend 2 black minor league players to Hankyu Braves of Japan. And World War II Pacific Peace Treaty takes effect.
Interesting.
So a lot of stuff happened in 1952 on this day.
Yeah. And Dwight D. Eisenhower, I forgot to mention, was that's the mug that Conan had on his desk.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Very good. That was definitely one of his more iconic things that he had.
He kept it through every version of his show, except for I'm not 100% sure about like his final seasons.
Oh. I wonder when he first got it and who gave it to him.
Yeah, and he's occasionally talked about it on his show, but I don't remember.
Yeah, same. I might have heard it too, but I just don't remember. 1958, U.S. Vice President Richard Nixon begins goodwill tour of Latin America. Wonder how that turned out. In 1963, the 17th Tony Awards, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, the play, and A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, the musical, both win.
Oh, yeah, I saw, they did, A Funny Thing Happened on the way to the forum, in my school, and, you know, some of my, brother's classmates, and, eventually some of my, they would become my friends. Oh, no, some of my classmates as well. They did a stage show, and usually high school plays were insufferable.
Uh-huh.
But actually, I kind of enjoyed it, and I'm not a big fan of musicals.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
well, maybe you just think you're not a fan of musicals.
Yeah,
We'll
and
have to
also-
show you some more.
And it got referenced in one of the original Marvel shorts that they had exclusively
Really?
for Blu-ray releases. It was a funny thing happened on the way to Thor's
Thor's-
hammer.
Yes, okay,
It's
yes.
a direct reference
okay.
to the forum thing.
All right. 1964, Japan joins the OECD, or Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Boy, what a mouthful. 1965, My Name is Barbara. Barbara Streisand's first televised special premieres on CBS, as well as Lindsey Nelson broadcast baseball game at the Houston Astrodome from a hanging gondola.
Yeah, Barbra Streisand. Have you ever heard of the
Yep.
Streisand effect?
I believe I have. It sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
It's the idea that they was something like Google Maps or some other website had a picture of her home, and she's like, "Hey, take your picture off my website," and then she sued to have it removed because she didn't want people looking at it. It had been accessed something like 4 times, and after the lawsuit, it drew so much attention, it ended up being viewed thousands and thousands of times.
Okay, I guess I had not heard about this.
Oh yeah, and a couple of those initial views were just lawyers looking at the pictures. So because she tried to hide it,
No.
she drew a ton of attention to it, and it became known as the Streisand effect, doing something
Oh,
that
okay.
draws more attention to something that wouldn't have gotten the attention.
You know, I
otherwise.
think I probably have
wanted
heard
to
of
hide
that then. I guess I never knew the reason it was called that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then, of course, there's the Colbert effect.
And the Tetris effect.
You should play that tonight.
Yeah, we can play it for a little bit.
Or last night, I guess.
Yeah.
This is Friday.
We could do it tonight too. Who knows? No rules.
So anyhow, also on this day in 1965, Luciano Pavarotti makes his debut in La Scala, Milan, in Franco Zeffirelli's production of La Bohème with Mirella Freni.
Please forgive our pronunciations. I couldn't tell if they're wrong or right.
I am part Italian, so I
there
think
you
I
go.
got that right. I think I nailed
okay.
it.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I missed one or two, but I'm pretty sure I got most of that.
Okay. Okay.
In 1966, 20th NBA championship, Boston Celtics beat the LA Lakers 4-3. And the 38th Academy Awards, The Sound of Music wins, with Julie Christie and Lee Marvin winning as well. I believe I looked up what other movies were nominated for Best Picture for the 38th Academy Awards. I didn't see anything that jumped out as like, oh man, I've heard of that. Why didn't that win instead? What's up?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why. I mean, I do see that sometimes. You're like, oh, that movie was terrible. But you know what?
Yeah.
These award shows, they're all. It's the popularity contest kind of made up.
Indeed.
The categorizations of some of these movies is somewhat arbitrary.
Mm-hmm.
And when a movie wins that people are like, hey, that shouldn't win, they rearrange how that category works.
Yeah.
So,
Like, you're talking about when Beauty and the Beast was nominated for Best Picture, and they were like, oh, we don't want that happening again. Let's give Best Animated Picture its own category. So
it's
that
like, keep your
will never
toys
happen.
away from my toys.
Yes,
And-
yes, very well said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do not believe I've ever seen The Sound of Music. I have seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, same here.
And yeah, I don't doubt that it was a masterpiece that deserved to win the Best Picture that year. Especially considering all the other movies that were nominated were, like I said, nothing that I could say I'd ever heard of. And for something being from, what did I say, 1966, yeah, it's pretty far back there for anything that, you'd know for other reasons than, oh man, it must have been really great, Anyhow, 1967, Muhammad Ali refuses induction into the army and is stripped of his boxing title.
Yeah. Drafting was still a big thing
Yes.
in those days.
But yeah, he refused to fight with guns, and he lost his title for fighting with his fists. In 1969,
Nice.
the 4th Academy of Country Music Awards, Glenn Campbell and Kathy Taylor win. Charles de Gaulle resigns as president of France, and the rock band King Crimson with Robert Fripp, Greg Lake, and Ian McDonald debut. King Crimson being the name of Diavolo's stand in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind.
Ah, Diablo.
Diavolo. With a D.
Diablo.
Diavolo.
Diablo.
But yeah, the name is meant to be.
Diablo.
So anyhow,
Yeah.
in 1971, Samuel Lee Gravely Jr. becomes the first black admiral in U.S. Navy.
Ah.
In 1972,
Diablo.
courts award 1968 Kentucky Derby prize money to second place winner due to winner being given drugs before the race.
Oh my goodness, I hope they were good drugs. I'm just kidding. I'm
So-
just kidding. Don't do Kentucky.
It's kind of wild to think that even as far back as 1968, that sort of thing was happening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wild. I mean, it's wild that they cared.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I mean, I always think like, oh yeah, no one did. Everybody did it. No one really paid attention. It's like, no, it was never really permissible. They just hit it better back then. And nowadays we have so many different ways to detect for this stuff. So, man, that was a good find back in the day there. Like, hey, you cheated.
Yeah, and especially for how far apart they were, 68 to 72.
Yeah.
Like he was stripped of the thing, and prize money was given to the guy that far in the future.
Yeah, that's
For when it happened.
the law moves very slowly.
Yeah. It makes you wonder how many people who bet on that particular outcome felt cheated that, hey, they didn't get their money. Because it doesn't mention that like any people who put wagers on them would have gotten anything.
Yeah, the law is not.
Yeah.
The law is not going to cover.
So yeah, definitely. I think anybody who was around in 1968 who wagered on the person who came in second to win would have felt like especially cheated, finding out that they should have won. Anyhow, 1975, Ringo Starr appears on the Smothers Brothers show, singing Hoyt Axton's No No song. And John Lennon is the guest on Tom Snyder's Tomorrow program in what turns out to be his final television interview.
Wild. Yeah, before that super fan got to him.
Also, South Vietnam Nguyen Duong Van Minh is sworn in as president until April 30th. So just for a few days. Very strange. In 1977, American defense employee Christopher John Boyce is convicted for selling secrets to the Soviet Union. And nobody ever told the Soviet Union anything ever again.
Yeah, it's pretty wild how it's never come up.
Yeah?
And no longer holds any relevancy. Secrets, Russia.
Yeah.
Silly.
In 1985, Billy Martin is named a New York Yankee manager for the 4th time.
He's like, I'm telling you, I'm the manager of the Yankees. And he's like, all right, fine.
That'd be funny if that really was how it
went.
went.
The last time.
I don't know. It might not have been the last time. It doesn't say for the last time. So, also, Fernando Valenzuela sets the record of 41 scoreless innings to start a season.
Wild.
1986, good year. Soviet TV news program Vremya, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, announces a nuclear accident at Chernobyl nuclear power station 2 days after the event.
Yeah, they did not. So I mean, I know that there's details and things, but yeah, they didn't say. Yeah, kind of the same way it still happens. They want to wait until they have all the info.
Yeah, it's possible, or they were trying to cover it up and realized there was no way to cover this up. We actually have to make an announcement, you know. Yeah. I mean, if TV shows are to be believed, they potentially may have realized there was going to be a problem, did nothing to warn people.
Yeah, because Yeah, yeah. There's
So-
there's a bit more info. It basically you just need to know it was handled very poorly.
Yeah.
And people who knew things didn't tell enough people.
Yeah.
But also in 1986 in August, the original Transformers the animated movie or Transformers the movie debuted in theaters.
But not on this date, though.
Not on this
You
date.
said in August.
I just like the Transformers, and we got the Transformers. And when is 1986
And,
gonna come up again?
And
When is it gonna come up
a
again?
couple weeks later, in May, a certain fandom was born. Anyhow, in 1988, Baltimore Orioles lose the AL record 21 games in a row. Also, the New Jersey Devils set all-time playoff mark for penalty minutes.
Can you believe those Oreos again? Birds in sports. I said it earlier in the video, and I'll say it now.
Mm-hmm.
No birds in sports. Have you ever heard about someone hitting a birdie?
Yes.
That's a sports thing, Zagongo.
Yeah. I mean,
They don't want birds.
I've actually seen the tragedy when a pitcher threw a ball and did hit a birdie. It was very tragic.
What?
Had you not heard about that? Yeah, it was very awful.
First, a bird gets hit by a baseball.
Feathers everywhere.
Then Fabio's face kills a goose. Look it up.
Okay. Next, in 1989, Argentina is hit by a rocketing inflation, runs out of money. So yeah, it's hard to believe a country can run out of money, but evidently Argentina did. Also, Iran protests sale of Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie.
Yes, and this is Salman Rushdie, as you may have heard if you've been following events last year. They were supposed to give a speech or dissertation. I don't know what the proper term is at the Chautauqua Institution, which
Really?
isn't too far from where we live. It's about an hour away. No, maybe a little less. And he was attacked on stage before he had a chance to speak.
Oh my goodness.
One of my coworkers who was working there as well, because he works a lot, so he worked where I worked and he worked at the institution. He was the second person that jumped on the attacker to stop the attack from progressing.
Wow.
Salman Rushdie did get severely injured. He did get stabbed multiple times and lost the use of one eye.
Oh my goodness.
But
I'm presuming that thanks to their intervention, he's alive.
yeah, that seems very likely. There's a video of some of it online.
Do you know if he
the
ever
everything.
thanked them?
I'm not sure if he thanked personally. My coworker had never said anything about it, about that, but he did get a medal from the mayor. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there's a picture of it online.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome to see this guy, because I've known him, for many years now at the store that where we work together, and he's like, oh, this guy. He's very interesting. A very interesting person.
And so are you. You're a very interesting bird.
Tweet.
Tweedly-dee.
Chirp.
In 1990, the Boston Celtics score the most points in a playoff to beat the New York Knicks, 157 to 128.
Normally known as the New York
Knickerbockers.
Nicholases. Oh.
Did you think it was Nicholas's?
No, I didn't. I
Knickerbockers.
forgot that Knickerbockers was it, and I was like, oh, Knicks. And it is the thing. And anyway, Stevie Nicks sounds like a guy.
In 1991, Space Shuttle STS-39, or Discovery 12, is launched. In 1993, New York Islanders beat the Washcaps 4-1 in a playoffs. Caps Dale Hunter attacks Pierre Turgeson after scoring in hockey's worst cheap shot.
Turgeon? Yeah, a lot of New York in this list. I like it.
I mean, sometimes it's most of the time it's a coincidence, but if there's something comes up and it looks interesting, I add it to the list.
I'll add you to the list.
In 1996, Big opens at Schubert Theater in New York City for 193 performances. In Australia's worst massacre in modern history, Martin Bryant shoots and kills 35 in Port Arthur, Tasmania, and leads to a compulsory gun buyback program and major changes to gun control laws.
Yeah.
So-
they have
so
a
it's-
very similar situation to us.
So as much as that was a tragedy that it happened, the fact that it led to, more severe gun control laws, I think, makes it worth mentioning,
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Definitely worth mentioning. The socio-political climate at the time is very similar, or what was very similar to what we had here in the States. So a lot of people use it as an argument for laws over here, and then they were like, well, it's a different country, different people. It's like, nah, pretty much the same situation. And also the Big. How did you not mention Big? You did mention it, but
Yeah.
did you ever see Big?
Yeah, of course they have. Well,
Great
the movie.
Yeah. With
seen the movie.
Tom Hanks.
Yes.
It is a wonderful movie.
Yes, indeed.
Very wonderful. I still enjoy it every time I see it. It's one of the handful of movies I had seen in theater as a kid.
Jimmy, Cocoa Puff, Jimmy, ride. Jimmy, Cocoa Puff, Jimmy, ride. I say a Triscuit, a biscuit. No?
I've seen the movie, but I don't remember that part because that part. I mean, I do remember that part, but I don't remember all the words because it's so cringe. I'm just more fascinated with the building transformer.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It was a joke.
Was that ever a real thing?
I know it was
good.
made for the movie, but the joke was there are some Transformers that are really like kind of the same idea.
But didn't he suggest that they should make ones turn into bugs?
Yeah, which was already a thing. By the time that movie came out,
Well,
there already were.
Could it have been possible that it was written like that or filmed like that before that happened?
Nah, maybe they weren't as well known, but
Okay.
But yeah, and I've seen some Transformer fans customize that building. Quite a few actually have made that building themselves.
I also want to say I looked into the game he plays on his DOS computer at the start and end of the movie. But I do not remember what it is called, but I want to say that it's a real game. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I looked this up. But that was definitely one of those things there. I had no knowledge of this sort of game, but it wouldn't be till many years later that I would, gain interest in, that sort of genre of gaming. And I kind of wish that I had been introduced to it growing up because, I missed out on a lot of these really awesome adventure games that came out back then. But anyhow, moving along, in 1997, Ringo Starr's fourth All-Star Band debuts in concert. Members include Peter Frampton, Jack Bruce, Gary Brooker, Simon Kirke, and Mark Riviera.
Very nice.
I'm sure there's some people out there that are familiar with all those people.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Peter Frampton is definitely the one we're most familiar with outside of, obviously, Ringo. Whose name means apple in Japanese.
Oh.
In 2001, millionaire Dennis Tito becomes the world's first space tourist.
Yeah, there was...
Kind of hard to believe that happened that long ago. You'd think that was something that was a little more recent.
Yeah, because you got things like SpaceX,
Yeah.
which was not the first privately owned company.
Evidently.
I do remember this one. If this is the same one I'm thinking of, it was basically a space airplane that flew into the exosphere, so still technically space.
Yeah.
But still also technically on Earth, part of
You'd be
Earth.
weightless, is basically what you got to experience.
Yeah, and you'd still get a view unlike anything almost anyone. No one in the... There's so few people.
Anyone outside of, like, astrophysicists who are studying... views from telescopes or the satellites and stuff.
Like with your own beady eye.
Yes, of course.
Just people on space stations, rocket ships, and a handful of private flights. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that certainly would be something, if it were ever something that was affordable to do, absolutely, I'd love to. That sounds amazing. But yeah, basically just a few months before, the aviation changed forever, that's when this guy got to experience being up in outer space as a civilian. So...
I can't even go that high.
Yeah, I don't think any birds can fly that high.
Nope, not enough air.
In 2003, Andre Agassi recaptures the world #1 ranking to become the oldest top-ranked male in the history of the ATP rankings at 33 years and 13 days.
Yes, Andre Agassi. I have never heard of. Maybe.
Did I pronounce it wrong?
No, I was like, I
Agassi?
mean, maybe that is the way it's supposed to be pronounced. It's just
Okay.
like, what? Andre Agassi? Like,
Oh, okay,
what?
okay.
Agassi? But now I'm gonna feel silly if he's like, yeah, it's Andre Agassi.
I have no idea. Neither of us are sports furs
I
here.
am passingly familiar with him because he used to be on TV a lot. You know, it's one of those. Even though
Presumably in 2003.
yeah. Even though I didn't really watch a lot of tennis, you'd see a lot of Andre Agassi with his scruffy
Now that you
face
say it like
and his-
that,
yeah.
I think that is how it is said.
Yeah.
My mistake.
He had it's okay, but his shoulder length hair, his scruffy face, his perfect body, and his
Oh my.
prowess for tennis.
Indeed. In 2004, Shrek the sheep. Yes, that you heard correctly. Shrek the sheep. From Taurus Central Otago, New Zealand. I probably butchered that. Forgive me, any
Pronounced
New
Central.
Zealanders. Is finally shorn live on TV after 6 years of avoidance. The fleece weighed 27 kilograms or 60 pounds.
Yes. Can
Wow.
you imagine? They had to have been like at least a third of the weight.
I
of the
kind of want to
animal.
look up what this sheep looked like before he got shorn.
I've seen pictures of sheep that there was one where
He must have been quite a fright.
yeah, there was one that I don't know if it's the same one, but they had escaped from the or they had wandered away from the flock and were like living like a while really far out. When
okay.
they finally found it, yeah. It's absurd.
Okay.
There's whole YouTube channels where animals are being shorn after being let go for far too long, and it's
Oh,
this
my.
amazing knotted mess, and it comes off
Yeah,
the sheets. And
I'd
it's,
imagine.
yeah. Oh my goodness, takes hours in some cases.
But yeah, you kind of wonder. 6 years without being shorn. I wonder if you could see anything of the sheep, beforehand.
Barely can.
Probably couldn't even see anything of him. It was probably so overgrown. Although one wonders, they've got to have been like selectively bred over, all this time to have their would it be fur? To have their fur grow like
Wool.
that? Wool. Okay, so let's go wool. To have their wool grow like that, to think, before human intervention, they would have grown like that. So it must not have been something that happened through natural selection. It must have been human intervention, I think.
Maybe. I don't know. Somebody leave messages in the comments. Tell us how sheep work.
Yeah.
Sheep work.
If you know, let us know. In 2005, the Patience Law Treaty goes into effect. Yeah, no idea what that is, but...
patent law.
oh, is it patent law? Oh, my goodness.
Patent law.
The Patent Law Treaty goes into effect. My goodness.
Yeah, named after William H. Patton.
In 2014, Craig Ferguson announces he will leave the Late Late Show at the end of 2014.
And he did. Then we got James Corden.
And he's leaving, I think, did he leave already? Or it's like, right around now is when it's happening.
His special's airing soon. We saw promos for that.
Yes, it either aired already or it's airing like tonight or something. 2017, oh boy, Gwyneth Paltrow, Brian Goop, and Condé Nast announced they will be launching a quarterly publication together.
I liked how in the Iron Man, in the Avengers universe, that when Rescue finally shows up, it's this gorgeous blue armor.
Okay.
And I was happy to see her back in the role. I know that she had some issues with producers or whatever, but I had this statue of her, and I just couldn't stand to keep looking at it.
Yeah.
Knowing, I mean, look, artist and the art, separate whatever, but
I mean, she didn't create the character, right?
she didn't. I mean, I liked the statue, but it was also like, I have enough things. And I just kept thinking of her goop and her rocks and all of her... Some of the things are ridiculous and they're not...
Most of the things are.
Yeah.
If not all of them.
Possibly, but at least some of them are silly or enjoyable, but she had some outright false claims initially for some of it, and they had to rework the website. And let me tell you, if somebody wants to peddle a holistic or non-medical way to take care of a medical issue, hey, put this rock or use this goo that hasn't been approved by the FDA.
Yeah.
It's probably not something you should do.
Agreed.
Probably not.
I mean, there's probably a extremely slim chance that something could actually be helpful or effective, but
yeah, but not what she was selling.
Yeah,
she's selling almost literal snake oil.
Not defending her in the slightest. Just there's probably a minuscule chance that something out there that hasn't been approved is still.
Oh yeah, everything
effective.
starts somewhere. Everything starts somewhere.
But hopefully the FDA will be on it soon and it'll be approved.
Her stuff just starts in a book of fiction.
In 2018, Danny DeVito Day is declared in Jersey for the 17th of November by Mayor John Moore of Asbury Park.
How about an egg for these trying times?
Yes.
Did you like an egg?
I wonder, was that from 2018? Perhaps?
Oh, that line? I don't think so, but it is from...
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Always Sunny, yeah. Wonderful, wonderful show.
Also, India government announces electricity has now reached every Indian village. Kind of wild to think it took until 2018, but also good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
And also, Shaquem Griffin, hopefully I'm not butchering that too badly, is the first one-handed person to be drafted into the NFL for the Seattle Seahawks.
Ah, more birds. A lot of birds in this.
But yeah, one-handed people.
What kind of people have one hand?
I mean, the only other famous one-handed person that comes to mind was there was a famous drummer that only had one hand.
Yes, he lost an arm and he kept drumming and he actually still did an amazing job. But yeah, why not? Why not? If you can still do the work, then shouldn't matter, and it generally doesn't.
In 2019, American driver Victor Vescovo makes the deepest dive ever to the bottom of the Marianas Trench at 10,927 meters, or 35,849 feet, and finds a plastic bag.
It is wild to think you're going down to the Marianas Trench.
The deepest point on the Earth that we can reach without drilling into the planet.
One of the two, and the guy's like, wow, humans have never been here before. And he's observing the magic and mystery of nature.
What's that down there?
Oh, that's a ShopRite bag. It's like
that kind of would be interesting to find out what company it was on the flag, if they were even able to read it, if it wasn't just completely dissolving or something from the crushing weight.
It takes a long time.
But
it takes a long time for our guards. Some of it degrades fast, and some of it
I just meant
forever.
the weight of all the ocean on top of it would be crushing it so hard that you might not be able to pull it up without it just tearing or
let's go down
coming
see if
apart.
It's still there.
Yeah. Here's hoping they cleaned it up, right?
Yeah. Wonder if he took it with him.
Also on this day, Disney says Marvel film Avengers Endgame made an estimated $1.2 billion worldwide, the first film to ever make more money than $1 billion on opening.
$1 billion.
Indeed.
And we mentioned that's the one where Rescue appears.
Oh yeah. The largest demonstration since 2014 in Hong Kong over plans to change law to send suspects to mainland China for trial, as well
would not want to do that.
As well as Spanish general election, no party wins a majority. Socialists under Pedro Sanchez win most with 29%. And the TV series Game of Thrones, the Long Night episode, debuts with the longest battle ever screened, nearly 80 minutes, surpassing the Lord of the Rings battle at Helm's Deep of 44 minutes. So, can you believe that? A TV show has a longer battle sequence than a movie.
Crazy.
That is just wild stuff.
Some weird, wild stuff.
Then in 2020, the bad year, Argentina bans all commercial, domestic, and international flights until September 1st because of the obvious.
Yeah. I had a flight changed.
President Vladimir Putin warns Russia has not yet reached the peak of infections, with 93,000 recorded cases and 867 deaths. The U.S. confirmed cases pass 1 million, while the death toll of 58,365 surpasses that of the U.S. soldiers killed in the Vietnam War, according to Johns Hopkins. And the U.S. Department of Defense releases 3D classified videos of possible UFOs from 2004 to 2015.
Yes, I remember this blowing up, and I watched the videos, and I also watched videos that thoroughly describe what's actually happening.
Oh, really?
The only reason they're still considered UFOs and they've been declassified, well, they declassified for whatever reason, but they were still UFOs because there's been no generally accepted answer as to what's happening. But you could watch the videos; they are fascinating. But then you can watch the debunking videos that just tell you what they are.
Yeah,
they know what people know what these things are.
Or at the very least, they're very educated people who are fairly certain that is what you're seeing.
Yeah. They show evidence.
I still find it so wild that
they're not aliens. They just are.
All that crazy pandemic stuff happened on that day, and some UFO footage got declassified on the same day.
Yeah, it's fascinating. There was a younger version of me would have lost my mind. And the older version of me is like, well, let's see this is really about. And it's like, oh, that's just a bird in one of them. And one of them, it's just a bird.
It's just a relative.
It's just a bird, and the people are amazed at how, the people in the video are just amazed at how good the camera is that they're using and how they're able to track this bird. And I'm like...
Okay. So in 2021, NASA's Parker Solar Probe becomes the first spacecraft across the Alphavin critical boundary, the outer atmosphere of the sun.
Well,
that's crazy.
Yeah. They were like, hey, you know what? The night is young.
We're going to send a probe into the sun, and it doesn't just get destroyed.
Yeah.
It's actually able to get into the outer atmosphere. Who even would have thought the sun had an atmosphere? I don't know.
I know, it's crazy. You know, and that in the future, when you're fired, you'll be fired out of a cannon into the sun. Then you'll really be walking on sunshine.
Okay. And finally...
One more Futurama reference.
And finally, today, in fact, Peter Pan and Wendy releases on Disney Plus, starring Jude Law as Captain Hook and Jim Gaffigan as Mr. Smee. As well in movie theaters, Sisu, a movie about a seemingly unkillable Finnish gold prospector and his dog in World War II. The ad campaigns are heavily spoiling that the dog will live through this movie.
Yeah,
they promise that the dog won't die.
Yeah, it's because of what happened in the first John Wick movie.
Yeah, and in general, that people just care more about dogs than people.
Yeah, and this is like the same people who made John Wick.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people, I'm hearing a lot of comparisons with John Wick as far as, this guy is just an unstoppable killing machine, and he loves dogs. So it's like, yeah, they can definitely see there's a lot going on there. But I believe it's based partially on a real dude, a real Hungarian guy, a real Finnish guy. Sorry. I believe there's also some native, the native tongue is spoken in the movie. But most of it's spoken in English, though. But anyhow, as well as Dead Island 2 comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series X and PC. And Star Wars Jedi Survivor on PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. So yeah, those are all things that happened on this day. Those last ones being something that just happened as you're hearing this. So there you go. Go see, go check out Peter Pan and Wendy, or go see Sisu.
Hey, do you have Peter Pan in a jar?
No.
What about that canister on top of the fridge?
That's not a jar.
Yeah, it's a jar. It's a circular container with a lid on it.
Eh.
It's a jar. Okay, do you have Peter Pan in a can? You better let him out. Tinkerbell's gonna be pissed.
Huh. Good night, everybody. But yeah, so if you like that video, let me know. If you want a birthday video of your own, let me know. And AeonPup, hopefully you watched this and found this interesting. And hopefully you have a happy birthday. So
yes, happy birthday.
So yeah, thanks for watching, and tune in to Azurean stream tonight on twitch.tv/transientplayer, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.